Many years ago, when I was a young college student, to make some extra money to supplement my extravagant lifestyle, I used to valet on nights and weekends. Back then, the minimum wage was below $5, but you could make it up through the tips. On a good night, the tips could account for more than 2 times what I was making from my hourly wage. And waiting in line for the next car that would pull up, we, the valets, would get excited whenever we see a super nice car, a Porsche, a Mercedes, or a BMW. We literally raced to be the first ones to open the door because we all believed better the car, bigger the tip. But do you know what was most interesting? We were wrong most of the time. The guy or lady in the nicest cars will most often turn out to be the stingiest of them all. $1 or $2 if we were lucky. But most of the time, nothing. They'll just get in the car, not give us a second look, and drive off. So what did I learn? Well, I definitely learned that some people with nice cars could be jerks, and real jerks at that. But the more important lesson was this, that material wealth does not signal true wealth. Often, it actually signals the opposite. The more someone tries so hard to show off the things that they own, the greater the chance that that person is probably broke. So with that, let's jump right into it. Let's learn about signals, many subtle ones, that reflect someone might be secretly wealthy. The number one giveaway that someone is secretly wealthy. When it comes to their car, they drive fully paid off, boring cars. Think of the most boringest car you can imagine. And we all know without having to say anything, right? A Toyota Camry, a Honda Accord, maybe a Subaru Crosstrek if you're feeling a little spicy. And the secretly wealthy don't just proudly drive these boring, regular cars. No, they take it a step further. Most don't owe anything on them. No payments, no lease, no monthly obligations whatsoever. And why is this? Because for the secretly wealthy, cars are only tools, not status symbols. According to a study by Thomas Stanley, the author of The Millionaire Next Door, the most popular vehicle among millionaires is not a Ferrari or a Range Rover. It's a Toyota. In fact, the data consistently shows that millionaires are more likely to drive used, non-luxury vehicles than the general public. Not because they cannot afford more, but because they understand one fundamental truth about money. Depreciation is a silent thief. The moment you drive a brand new luxury car off the lot, it can lose up to 20% of its value. And that's just year one. Over 5 years, that $80,000 luxury SUV might be worth less than half its purchase price. The secretly wealthy know this too well. But there's more to this than just math. Driving a modest car is also heavily related to mindset. They're essentially saying they're not going to play the stupid status game. Because let's admit it, if you're truly rich, truly wealthy, and you feel secure about yourself, you no longer need to prove it to anyone. Thus, the secretly wealthy proudly buy boring regular cars. They ensure that the cars are completely paid for and then drive them for 10, sometimes even 15 years. They prioritize reliability, fuel efficiency, and maintenance history over flashiness or logos. And here's another bonus. Not only do these cars cost less upfront, they save money over the long term. Lower insurance premiums, lower maintenance costs, lower registration fees. To me, that is not just smart, that is true wealth behavior in action. So next time you see someone in a decade-old Camry or a basic pickup truck, don't be so quick to judge. Because while someone else is leasing a BMW they can't really afford, the secretly wealthy are letting their wealth compound while driving something that just plain works. The number two giveaway that someone is secretly wealthy. When it comes to a house they choose to live in, they focus on functionality, not status. They couldn't care less if random people walking by are impressed by their homes. No, that is not what they care about at all. When it comes to their home, they care only about one thing: functionality. Does it serve their needs? Is the home in a safe neighborhood? Does it provide ample space for them to live comfortably? Is it in a high-quality school zone? Are the neighbors friendly? The secretly wealthy understand that the home they choose to live in, just like the car they drive, serves a very functional purpose. It's a shelter, not a billboard. Additionally, the secretly wealthy, because they're focused on function, most often don't feel the need to constantly upgrade their living space. Because let's admit it, the reason most people feel they need to replace something that is working just fine is due to social pressure. We see a huge, beautiful mansion that our friend just bought, and many of us can't help ourselves but fantasize about owning a similar home. Maybe even a bigger one with the nicer marble countertops, custom wine cellars, and infinity pools because you want to top your friend. But that, my friend, is a losing game. The game of lifestyle inflation is a never-ending game, and the worst part, everyone who participates end up as a loser in one way or the other. Thus, the secretly wealthy know not to play such a stupid game in the first place. They buy what they need, can comfortably afford, in the best location they can, and find complete satisfaction in their decision. Interestingly, Warren Buffett said this when asked why he still lived in a modest home in Nebraska he bought in 1958 when he is worth hundreds of billions today. I'm happy there, and I would move if I thought I'd be happier someplace else. But I don't think I would be. The number 3 giveaway that someone is secretly wealthy. They splurge where no one is looking. Now at first, that might sound a little backwards, right? Isn't the whole point of splurging to show off? Well, not for the secretly wealthy. Their spending is not about status, it's about value. Thus, while they would never drop a $2,000 on a designer handbag or a luxury watch, they wouldn't think twice about spending the same amount on a quiet weekend getaway with their loved ones. You would never catch them with a fancy car or a Gucci belt, but they'll be totally fine spending a small fortune on a quality mattress or their physical and emotional well-being. It is what Rumi Sethi calls a money dial. They dial up spending in areas that matter most to them and ruthlessly cut back everywhere else. Thus, you'll often find that the secretly wealthy are frugal in places where spending gives little value, like upgrading a phone every year or eating out 5 times a week. But they'll go all in when something actually supports their values, relationships, health, or time. In other words, they're not frugal across the board, they're selective and intentional. And to me, that is one of the strongest signs that someone is secretly wealthy. They personally redefined what splurge means to them, and they act accordingly. Which brings us to the next dead giveaway. However, before we get there, do you want to know what else the secretly wealthy invest in that nobody ever sees? The most boring, unglamorous financial product on the planet. Term life insurance. Yes, I know. Not exactly dinner party conversation material, right? Nobody's posting their life insurance policy on Instagram. There's no status flex in having proper coverage. But here's the thing. That's precisely why the quietly wealthy have it. While everyone else is busy financing luxury cars and designer watches to look successful, the secretly wealthy are quietly securing their family's future with one of the most important decisions of their life. And this is why I'm excited to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Fabric by Gerber Life. And what is great about Fabric is that they understand something crucial. Getting life insurance shouldn't feel like buying a used car from a sketch dealer. Thus, they built something refreshingly straightforward. You can apply online in less than 10 minutes. No scheduling appointments with agents, no pushy sales tactics, no confusing jargon, and no drowning in paperwork. And if you're young and healthy, you might skip the medical exam entirely and get approved right away. While your neighbors are still researching which luxury SUV makes them look most successful, you could already be quietly set with that crucial layer of additional protection for your family's financial future. And here's where it gets interesting for you financially savvy money nerds. You can get up to $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. That is right, $1 million in coverage for less than the price of your daily caffeine addiction. But Fabric is not just about term life insurance. They built an entire ecosystem for protecting wealth, free will creation, and investment accounts for your kids. It's like having a CFO for your family right in your pocket. And the proof? Over 1,900 families have given them 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. These are not paid endorsements. These are real people, including busy parents like you, who finally found a company that respects their time and intelligence. Here's my honest take. The secretly wealthy do not make money moves or applause. They make them for long-term benefit and peace of mind. They understand that real wealth is not about impressing strangers. It's about protecting the people who actually matter. So here is your chance to make the ultimate secretly wealthy move. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/tay. That's meetfabric.com/tay. MEET fabric.com/tay. And there is no risk to applying. Fabric offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and the ability to cancel at any time. Now let's talk about another fascinating trait of the secretly wealthy. The number 4 giveaway that someone is secretly wealthy. They know their net worth better than their salary. For most people, when you ask them how much they make, many can tell you their salary down to the cent. $78,542 a year before taxes. Or $32 an hour, not including overtime. But ask them what their net worth is, you'll usually get a blank stare. Or a wild guess. Secretly wealthy people flip this dynamic. They might not even remember their exact salary, but they can tell you their net worth immediately. Why? Because they know net worth is a true measure of wealth. Not your income, not your title, not how much you made this month. It's what you keep, not what you make, that determines your long-term financial success. Thus, the secretly wealthy people track their net worth religiously, not out of obsession, but out of intentionality. It keeps them grounded. It helps them make smarter financial decisions. And more importantly, it shows them whether they're moving in the right direction. In contrast, someone chasing status might brag about making 6 figures, but be buried in credit card debt, leasing a car they can't afford, and living paycheck to paycheck. Bottom line, understand that if you're serious about building long-term wealth, you have to track the right metric. The net worth metric, not the income metric. So next time you meet someone who doesn't talk much about what they make, but has an oddly specific understanding of their net worth, pay attention. That person might not be just good with money, they might be secretly wealthy. And speaking of money awareness, the next sign goes one step further. The number 5 giveaway that someone is secretly wealthy. They're weirdly knowledgeable about specific cost, but not just about any cost, the one that actually matter. They might not care how much a Starbucks latte costs, but ask them about their 401k expense ratio, they'll tell you it's 0.03% without a pause. These people are dialed in. They know the exact annual fee on their Roth IRA, the admin costs in their workplace retirement plan, and how much their investment platform is quietly skimming off the top. Because they understand something that takes most people years to learn. It's not the $5 cups of latte that ruin your finances. It's the silent, recurring expenses that slip by unnoticed. A one-time splurge on a vacation might set you back a few grand, but a 1% fee on a $250,000 portfolio? That's $2,500 every single year, for as long as you hold it. And over a few decades, those small fees could quietly siphon off 6 figures from your net worth. Bottom line, they're not obsessing over every penny. They're focused on pennies that matter, pennies that scale out of your pocket. So if someone you know can't tell you what they made last month, but can tell you the average expense ratio across all their investments, they're not just financially literate, they might be quietly wealthy. The number 6 giveaway that someone is secretly wealthy. They get genuinely excited about boring investments. Now, most of these secretly wealthy individuals probably won't come out talking about investments unless you ask them. Because let's admit it, that's why they're secretly wealthy, right? However, when they do open up, you'll notice something interesting. They don't brag about 10 times crypto gains or flipping NFTs. They won't name drop startup unicorns or flex about hot stock tips. Instead, they'll tell you how they've been dollar cost averaging into a total market index fund for the past 15 years. How their Roth IRA is maxed out every year automatically. How their 401k is 100% in low cost index funds and why they choose one with a 0.4% expense ratio. And this isn't because it sounds cool, because no one can make dollar cost averaging cool no matter how you spin it. But it is because they understand what truly matters when it comes to effective investing. So when someone drops a comment about managing their investment costs or how they're going to max out their Roth IRA this year, you're not just talking to someone who's good with money. You're likely talking to someone who's quietly mastered it. The number 7 and last giveaway that someone is secretly wealthy. And this is probably the biggest quiet flex of them all. They have ultimate time freedom. So much so that you'll likely find them doing the most mundane, boring thing on a random Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Tuesday at 10 a.m. is the peak of business for most people. Most people are stuck in meetings, responding to urgent emails, or grinding through their task list. But the secretly wealthy? They're at the grocery store, they're walking their dog, they're reading a book at a coffee shop, they're picking up their kids from school. And here's the thing, most are not retired. Many are still working, still building, still contributing. But they've structured their lives in a way that gives them control over their time. Maybe they own a business that runs without them being physically present. Maybe they negotiated remote work or flexible hours. Maybe they built enough passive income that they only need to work part-time. Or maybe they simply realize that being present for life's moments is worth more than the extra income from working 60-hour weeks. Thus, to me, this is one of the most subtle yet obvious signs of true wealth. Not based on what they own, but how they spend their day. Because in today's world, time freedom is the ultimate luxury. So if you see someone who seems to have an abundance of it, especially on a random Tuesday, that's no accident. That is wealth. The kind of wealth that you don't have to show off. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. Thank you guys for watching the theme of stealth. If you want to know if you're practicing the money habits that is quietly making you rich, please check out my video here. Until next time, all the best.